Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie, Part 2. My name is Susan LaCroix, and together with my daughter, Julie Davison, we film and um, put these on YouTube for you. So I hope you are enjoying them, and we appreciate all of you who are watching. All right. So, as we've explained a couple times, or we've said a couple times, this is on stage week, and we're all so excited. Julie is actually, as I'm filming this, is on her way to Raleigh. I am leaving very early tomorrow morning for Raleigh. So I'm very excited. And both of us will be traveling home on Sunday when this premieres. So unfortunately, we won't be joining you. We won't even be able, we didn't even film together. We couldn't. Our schedules just were absolutely crazy. As many of you know, my husband had some surgery and had a toe amputated last week. He's doing very, very well. He's not having any pain. He's in good spirits. Um, so his biggest issue is that he cannot put any weight on that leg or foot at all for another 2 weeks. And then we'll take it from there and see what his surgeon says. So other than that, thank you again for all your well wishes. He truly, truly appreciates it, as do I. Okay. Enough about that. We're excited. There'll be some new product we get to see and hopefully bring home. And so we'll be able to share that with you very, very soon. For those of you who are demonstrators and going to on stage, I hope we can find each other and, and meet up somewhere. So anyway, look for us and we will be happy to spend some time with you. We would love it, actually. Okay. I'm going to switch to my desktop so we can get started. This week, Julie and I are in the online exclusive collection, and we decided to kind of do our own thing. I mean, we didn't buy always buy the same items, and so I'm just going to share these things. And I don't even remember what Julie is sharing, so it'll be a surprise to me too. All right. So one of the stamps is I love daisies. So this caught my eye. This daisies, you are remarkable. And this is a two-step. And it has some great sayings. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. And that's so true. You are remarkable in every single way. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. I like these. I like the mixed font of the greetings. There's some splatters. There's a little bumblebee, very, very tiny. I don't know if you can see it on camera. This little thing. And this looks like the center of this flower, but it can also be a jelly bean for Easter if you look at it, right? Okay, so that is the stamp set I'm using. It's photopolymer. It's a standalone stamp set. It has 10 images in it. The other thing I'm using is this textured Botanicals paper. It's a black and white paper, and I don't know, it just caught my eye. I really like it. I think there's a lot you can do with black and white. You can leave it black and white. You can do some coloring on it. You can, on some of the patterns, you might be able to stamp on them or emboss on them. So anyway, these are a pattern of leaves. And there's some shades of gray, obviously, here. So there's this one. And some of the patterns are the same, but like the negative, the reverse of it. There's this guy. There's this guy. And this looks like the reverse of this guy. And then this guy is the reverse of this guy. And then there is this one, some smaller leaves, which are screaming, color me, right? The back side, the B side, is really kind of a, gosh, how do I describe it? Black and white, but, just kind of neutral patterns, maybe not necessarily leaves, but would be great for backgrounds or stamping on or embossing on. Kind of, almost kind of dark, and I don't know, some of them are kind of dreary, but you can spice them up, right? All right. I'm going to show you a couple of samples. Now, this first one, I used the Texture Botanicals paper along with Julie's stamp set with you in mind. And I used a Granny Apple Green. to color in some of the leaves and the card base, and then just added some of these bright green sequins. And then on the inside, I just stamped a couple of the leaf images for that. As a matter of fact, this one is a club project for this week that we're doing. So the other one, the other image that or card I wanted to show you is this one. And if you go into the online exclusives, and I didn't go back and get a closer look at it, but there was this card that it was so nice. I mean, this is done on the basic beige cardstock, stamped in black, and then just taking some very, very pale colors of Stampin' Blends, just colored them in. So I've got the light versions of Lemon Lolly and Petal Pink and Pool Party and the green one. Ah, come on, Susan. We got to have a color that catches me every week, right? Soft seafoam. So the leaves are all done in soft seafoam, and the flowers are, a mix of the other colors with the centers of the flowers. And then I just use sometimes the simplest things mean the most, and I added the little bumblebee, and I just threw some of the iridescent gems on there. Okay, so those are my samples. I really didn't do that many samples just because my week has been really crazy, as a lot of you are aware. So, but that seems to happen to me most weeks, right? Okay. So, my supplies are as follows. Let me just get some of this stuff out of the way. My card base is basic black, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. My inside piece is basic white, 4 inches by 5 1/4. I have a strip of designer series paper, which is going to go on the inside. So that's how I'm finishing that up. And then I've got some pieces, one of basic black, which is 2 inches by 4.5. And then I've got the small white piece, which is 1 1/4 by 3 inches. And then this strip of designer series paper is 1 inch by 5 inches. So what I did, and I'm going to bring my paper trimmer. I kind of have something placed in here. And so I took the two pieces of designer series paper that are negatives of each other, or this is the negative of that, whatever. And I lined it up, as you can see. The dimensions on this are, I want to say I'm going to find it, 4 1/4 by 5.5. So it's going to, it'll be completely covering the basic black card front. Anyway, so I took those two pieces, I put them in my paper trimmer, I lined up corner to corner, and then I cut it so that I have black and white triangles. Now, you can get 2 cards using this, right? But we're only going to do one. So I'm going to save this for another day. Put that aside. And so this is going to get put on my card front. All right. So let's get started with making this card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this piece to my inside. Oh, that's almost empty. Grab a fresh one. Just put this down here. Okay. We'll set that aside. And then we're going to go ahead and put our pieces on. And let me just bring this down here. Make sure I'm in camera. I'm going to get this out of our way too. All right. So if they're going to get glued on here, I'm going to try Julie's trick, actually, where she doesn't fold her card yet. I was intrigued by that. Oh, wait a minute. What did I do here? Let me find my other pieces. Make sure I've got this right. Oh, okay. Why is this doing this to me? So this way, and what the heck? Okay, something, what did I do? No. All righty. Well, we're going to do this again. Has that ever happened to you? I've done a couple takes of this, and so that's why I thought I'm getting a little low on this, but let me pull that back here. All right, so I'm going to if I use that and pull this in. So I'm going to cut this down to 5.5 by 4.25. Trust me, this works. All right, and then we're going to go corner to corner. I wonder if I put it corner to corner wrong. That has to be what I did. It has to be. I'll fight with this later. All right. That's what we want. So now we're going to take our designer series paper, and we're going to adhere it to the card fronts. Okay. And I am going to okay. And then I'm going to adhere this one in the other corner. Okay. Put this on here like so. All right. So there's our card front. And we have our inside piece. So now we're going to work on our focal pieces, which are these two. And I'm going to bring out some embossing. We're going to do some heat embossing this afternoon. So I'm going to take my embossing buddy, do up these two pieces, put this aside, and I'm going to actually move some of this out of the way. Take my Versamark, and I have my two images that I want to emboss. Put those up here. I'm going to slide these down just a little bit. Get out my embossing powder, and today I'm using the Wow Primary Ebony, and that's going to be on the white piece, and I'm using the opaque bright white on the black cardstock. And so let's start with the black one. And I'm going to bring out a piece of foam because this is photopolymer, so there's no foam on the stamp, right? So we want to make sure we have enough cushion to stamp a good image. So if you're not using foam and you're finding that you're not getting a good image, it could be because you need a piece of foam under there. All right. And I'm going to stamp this flower up towards the top of the black cardstock. Give it some pressure to give it a good impression. It's always hard to tell, isn't it? If you've done it right. Let's get this in here. Oh, perfect. Okay, good. That looks pretty good. All right. Now that I've knocked over my white, I'm going to get this out of here so I can put it back in the container. Normally, I try to do that afterwards, but since I need both colors of embossing powder, I'm going to put these over here like so and grab my white piece of cardstock and the greeting. Let's go ahead and stamp that up. And again, I'm going to put this at the top of the piece of white. Friends are like flowers in the garden of life. Love that saying. All right. So let's go ahead, since we have this one here, we're going to go ahead and add the embossing powder and then heat emboss it. Watch the magic. Okay, good. Bad. I'm going to close up my Versamark. Close up the black, and I'll clean this up later. And bring out my heat gun, heat tool. Don't need that anymore. And just as a reminder again, when you're doing some heat embossing, you don't want to keep the heat tool on it too long. You don't want to melt it. I mean, you want to melt it so that it's nice and shiny. You don't want to do it so much. Oh, gosh, that was scary. You don't want to do it so much that I'm gonna stop for a second. Seem to have gotten some powder on here. And I think it looks like I've screwed up a little bit there. So what I'm going to do, I think my little brush from the kit touched it. So let me just add a little bit there to kind of refresh it. There we go. That's much, much better. As I was saying, you want you want it to look real shiny and melted. You don't want it to look kind of dull because then you've overheated it. Sometimes it's hard to tell. And I find if I kind of slant it in the light, it'll tell me. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay. So we're done with that. So now we're going to go ahead and adhere these to the front of our card. So they're going to kind of go on like this. And again, I'm just going to use seal to do that. Line this one up here. Trying to have a little bit of an evenness from and the top and the bottom and along the side. Might not be perfect, and that's okay. Now, and this guy is just, I want him to overlap the black piece a little bit. All right. And so now I'm going to add my center or my inside piece. And it's really hard to see the score line, but it's right about there. And so I want to put some seal on here and just adhere it evenly spaced all around. I guess I've watched Julie stamp for so long and I never realized that she did this way. All right. So we've got our nice crease on here. This out of the way. Now I'm going to bring out some baker's twine in the white and the black and add just a little bow at the bottom. So we'll start with the white bow. And so I'm going to make a double bow. And I always say that I should have just tied these ahead of time. And I didn't. Look, I've got embossing powder everywhere. Okay, so I'm doing it. I'm just kind of double stranding. Sometimes I cut this, sometimes I don't. Guess it just depends on my mood. It's down here. Now we're going to do some cutting. And I still want this piece, this side a little bit smaller. It's not a real big piece of cardstock. All right. Get out our glue dots and put this on. I'm going to kind of angle it a little bit at the corner. There, like so. All right. And let's do the same thing on the black piece. Let's just grab some white twine. I run my nail through it because sometimes if it's got some wrinkles or curly cues or whatever in it, and I want to straighten it out. So that's why I do that. Let's try that again. And of course, we are going to finish it up with some adhesive dots. So give it a little sparkle. Of course, because I'm doing this on camera, right? You're sitting at your table, just minding your own business. You can tie a bow with no problem. There we go. All right. Let's trim this down and put this on. Put this on right there. And then I brought these out. I think these are drusies. I will look it up and make sure. Could be just some adhesive, but they're black, gold, and white. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the center of this flower, I'm going to put three, one big in the center and flanked by two smalls, just to give that flower some sparkle. And then on this guy, I'm going to put one down here and then a little one, maybe over here, and then another big one up here. So lots of sparkle on this card. Anyway, pardon me. Here is my project. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it because we do appreciate you all watching us. I'm going to turn my camera around and show off my card one more time before we say goodbye. Okay, come on. There we are. I'm back. All right. So here it is in all its black and white glory. What do you think? Leave me a message if you have, or leave me a comment anyway, if you have either one of these products, the Texture Botanical Designer Series paper, or the remarkable, what's the name of this? Oh, you are remarkable because y'all are, right? All right. Again, even though we're not going to be watching the premiere because we're traveling home from on stage, I read all your comments, and so I appreciate them for sure. All right, everybody. With that, I'm going to sign off and get ready to head out to the airport tomorrow morning early. So until next Sunday stamping with Susan and Julie, have a great week, everybody. Bye.